Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you 1 week before Arsenal return back to action with that game at Wolves next Thursday night at Molineux. God, it's dragging, isn't it? I know I said yesterday, but every day seems to be dragging on now, waiting for football to return. It does, of course, return this weekend, but Arsenal not in action. But only a week away now, so hopefully that's going to go pretty quickly. Arsenal are back in London as well, which I'll talk about later on in this video. But I wanted to start today's video just on Alexandre Lacazette and his future. Now, obviously, Lacazette is going to be absolutely crucial to Arsenal between now and the end of the season. He is going to be the number one central striking option, given it's just him and Eddie Nketiah left after Aubameyang's move to Barcelona. But as we all know, he is out of contract in the summer, same as Nketiah, and it is looking very, very likely like he will be leaving. There is no contract offer at the moment. I doubt he'd sign one anyway, because if there was one, it wouldn't be for the sort of length of time that he will probably be getting offers from elsewhere. So it's just looking very, very much like he's going to be leaving. There's just a general acceptance around the place now that Lacazette as well as Nketiah will be off in the summer. And it could well be that he might end up going back to Lyon, the club that Arsenal signed him from 5 years ago for what was a club record fee then. That was quickly eclipsed when Aubameyang came in the following January. But Lacazette obviously still a massive Lyon hero. He's never hidden his, he continues to love the club. He always tweets about them and things like that. And old Jean-Michel Aulas, the Lyon president, has been speaking. He's gone public on his desire to bring Lacazette back to the club. There has been suggestions that Lyon tried to get something done for him in January. Arsenal obviously weren't going to pay any sort of attention to that, given their striker situation that with Aubameyang, that they had to keep Lacazette whatever happened, even if there was the prospect of a couple of £1 million perhaps on the table, given he only had 6 months left on his contract. And this is what Aulas has been saying, going public, talking to the French media about it. He said, it's Lacazette, he interests us because he is marked at this club. It's a profile that interests us and we've always been in contact with him. This is part of the guiding ideas brought by Bruno Cheroux, who's the new sporting director who replaced Juninho at Lyon. In our context, yes, it's Lacazette is more accessible than Benzema. We have to try and see if we can do it as a free player, but we will not be alone. Lyon also reportedly interested in Karim Benzema, another Lyon hero who was there before he moved to Real Madrid, but that one's looking very, very unlikely. I think he signed a new contract in Madrid, didn't he? So he's not going to be a free agent, so I can't see him leaving, especially given the form he's in at the moment for Madrid. They're not going to want to let him go. Lacazette free transfer will certainly be an option, but as Aulas, however you pronounce it, Jean-Michel Aulas, says there, we will not be alone. There's going to be plenty of interest in Lacazette. Now, I know a lot of you aren't the biggest of Lacazette fans, and it's safe to say he probably hasn't lived up to expectation at Arsenal, has he? I think we were all really, really excited when he signed. We thought potentially Arsenal got themselves a sort of 25 goal a season man. That's never materialised. I don't think he's ever actually got 20 goals in a season. I think his highest was like 18 or 19. He did win Player of the Season though in Unai Emery's first year at the club, in that year when him and Aubameyang absolutely were fantastic together. Aubameyang got 31 goals I think that season, won the Golden Boot, but it was Lacazette who got voted Arsenal's Player of the Season. He was excellent then, and he has been a decent servant to the club. He's definitely maybe not scored the goals that we were all hoping for, but he's played well at times. He continues to be an important player even now. I mean, he's in the team ahead of Aubameyang before Aubameyang left, with his quality of link-up play very important to how this Arsenal team plays. But I don't think a new contract now would do any good for Lacazette. I think he's not going to lead Arsenal forward. If Arsenal want to improve, if they want to really start putting the pressure on the best teams in this country, they need to get themselves a striker who's going to score more goals than Lacazette does. It's plain and simple. And Arsenal are going to revamp their striking options in the summer. We know that. They've held off doing it in January, but they will do it in the summer. There's no doubt about it. A couple of strikers will come in. Alexander Isak, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We know these are players that Arsenal very, very much are admirers of and will be tracking. Lacazette is a top earner at the club with Aubameyang leaving now. Lacazette's a top earner. He earns about 180 grand a week. That's big, big money that Arsenal will be saving off the wage bill when he goes in the summer, and that's money that will be able to be spent elsewhere. You probably look at Calvert-Lewin and Isak. Neither of those two would warrant you would say as much money as that. So, Arsenal will be looking at that as a saving. And with Aubameyang's wages off the wage bill as well, there's plenty of leeway there for Arsenal really to do some decent business in the summer when it comes to their strikers. And they will, there's no doubt about it. Look, they're going to have no strikers at the end of the season. With Balogun's going to be the only senior striker because Eddie's going to go, barring any massive late turnaround. Lacazette's going to go the same, barring any massive late turnaround. And then you're basically left with Fuller and Balogun as your only senior striker, and you can barely even call him a senior striker because he's only played a few games, and it's not far from a foregone conclusion that he'll even be at the club next season. He'll potentially go out on loan again, and so I think Lacazette exit is going to pave the way for the sort of refresh. I mean, Arteta, since he's arrived, the numbers, I saw Sam Dean at the Telegraph tweeted out yesterday, the numbers of new signings that Arteta has made, or new signings have been made under Arteta's watch. I think 3 goalkeepers, it was like 7 defenders, same amount of midfielders, strikers, big fat 0. No new strikers have arrived since Arteta came in the club. That is certainly going to change this summer, and Lacazette's exit, potentially to Lyon, is going to help pave the way for that, just the same as Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's did. But until the end of the season, no doubt about it, Laka is going to be a key player. And if Arsenal are going to get themselves in the top 4, then they're going to need Laka to perform, not just in terms of his link-up play, but I think they're going to need him to score a few goals as well, rather than relying on the young forwards around him. Elsewhere, I just wanted to flag these comments up by Jack Wilshere. I don't know if you've seen it. He'd done an interview out in Dubai with the Arsenal media team. A few different parts of the interview he spoke about is how he's improved as a coach since being at Arsenal. He spoke about is how he'll forever be grateful for this opportunity Arsenal have given him in terms of coming back and training and getting him out of what was a pretty dark place at the time. He was training on his own. He wasn't happy. So he spoke at length about that. If you haven't read them yet, you haven't seen the video, go over to the Arsenal website and you'll find it. It's decent content. But the really interesting thing I thought about, he talked about Arsenal's young forwards, and he was talking about Bukayo Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe, but then he moved on to Gabriel Martinelli, and I thought this was really, really interesting. He said, the one I really like, and I think he's going to be top, is Martinelli. I think what the manager has done with him has been genius as well. When I first went there, he was training, coming on, not playing much, but training really well, and I was thinking, he's going to get a chance here, and he eventually got his chance, and he's been brilliant. He was player of the month, and he's been brilliant, and he trains like that every day as well. Now, it's a really familiar trend here of people picking out Gabriel Martinelli when they talk about players. You know, Klopp has done it, Wilshere's done it now. There's been other players as well who have sort of picked him out in terms of they think he is going to go right to the very, very top. And I thought this was interesting. Wilshere saying that what Arteta has done with Martinelli is genius. Now, I know plenty of people are going to disagree with that because I think we've all wanted to see more of Gabriel Martinelli, haven't we? And we've had to be patient. Mikel hasn't really thrown him in until now. He's sort of kept him out, brought him on occasionally. Certainly last season we barely saw him until those final weeks of the season. And but now he's got his chance and he's come on. And whether that's genius from Mikel, and you know, I think there's no doubt Mikel has coached him very, very well. I think Martinelli now, as an all-rounded player, is far, far better than he was when he arrived. And he was so exciting when he arrived as well, potentially because of this, because he was just so, you know, bang, bang, bang. He was just everywhere, 100 miles an hour, doing everything he could. But he was moving out of position. It was just stuff like that. That as a coach, you know, as fans, we love it because it's like, look at him charging around, winning possession back. But as a coach, you're probably like, Gabby, stay in your position, you know, help out defensively and all that stuff that fans, like, we don't really care about. We just want to see him do what he's doing going forward and charging around like he does. But as a coach, you want to see him keep his shape and all that sort of thing. I think when you look at Martinelli now as an all-rounded player, he is far, far better than he was. And you've got to give Mikel and the coaching staff credit for that, because they've clearly, you know, worked with him. They've held him back. They've been patient. And now I think we're seeing the rewards in terms of an all-rounded player. And, you know, Wilshere's just the latest in a long line of these players. I think Arsenal are very, you know, they've got a hell of a talent on their hands there, and they're going to have to sort themselves out with a new contract, I think, fairly soon. It's going to be a big summer for Arsenal in terms of contracts. They've got rid of a lot of money on the wage bill. There's going to be some really important renewals coming up. They're going to have to sort Saka out. They're going to have to sort Martinelli out. Both of those, I think, have 2 years left in the summer. You don't want that to go any further down, really. You want to try and get them tied down as quickly as possible, because you know, you've already seen Klopp flirting outrageously with Martinelli. Manchester City, you feel like will be all over Bukayo Saka. So Arsenal have got to get these sorted, and there's other ones as well. William Saliba will have a couple of years left. They'll have to sort him out as well, and others. So I think it's going to be a really important summer for Arsenal, not just in terms of continuing with the rebuild in terms of incomings and certainly strikers, but getting some key contracts sorted as well. Edu is he's going to have to be a busy man. Arsenal back from Dubai. They arrived back late last night. Bold accounts, as I said in yesterday's video, it was a very, very good trip. A lot of the youngsters who went have had a really good time, enjoyed themselves, and felt very much part of the group. I think a lot of the senior players, trained well, but have also used it as a really good time to have a bit of rest and recuperation. They seem like they've enjoyed themselves. They're all at Dubai Expo the other day, doing some pretty cool stuff in that expo by the sounds of it, in terms of some of the airplane technology and all that. Emirates treat them very, very well, but they are back now, which is good. I'm not sure if they're at Colney today. I think they probably are at Colney today. I haven't actually double checked that, but I imagine they will be in, even if it's just for some sort of stretching after the long flight last night. But I think they'll be in Colney. They certainly will be tomorrow, and then they've got the game at the weekend, which is going to be at Colney. I wasn't sure if it was going to be at Arsenal or Reading, but that behind closed doors friendly will be at Arsenal. It's not going to be a really serious thing. I have no idea if Arsenal are going to release details of it or not after the event and put anything on their website, but I think it will probably be like we saw a little bit during the summer with these behind closed doors games. It might be sort of almost separated up into quarters rather than halves, and but it'll be an important run out for Arsenal. They haven't played in a long, long time. They've got the game against Wolves coming up on the Thursday night, so they want to be in best possible shape for that. And so I'm sure they'll use it and treat it very, very seriously. If I do get any details from that and it hasn't been released by Arsenal, then I will put them out so you can find out what went on. I think pretty much everyone's going to be involved. It doesn't look like Tomiyasu is going to be involved. He's not done any training yet. Fingers crossed that his injury is not too bad. We'll be speaking to Mikel, I imagine, on the Tuesday next week ahead of the game at Wolves, where we'll get the latest update in terms of some of the injuries. Everyone else seems to be fit and healthy. We've played a big part in Dubai, which is positive. Nicolas Pepe, as I said, he's back. He scored an absolute beauty in training yesterday that he posted on his social media. Classic Pepe goal from an angle bent into the far corner. He's going to have a key role to play between now and the end of the season, you would think. Probably Arsenal's best finisher left at the club, I would say, after Aubameyang's departure. So all those sort of players you'd expect will certainly be involved against Reading. Probably just Tomiyasu, who won't be, which you would think that's going to mean Cedric at right back. Whether it will still be Cedric by the time Arsenal returns to Premier League action remains to be seen, but no offence to Cedric, you want to see Tomiyasu back as quick as possible because he is such an important player for Arsenal. Before I go, just quickly, the Wolves game, the Wolves home game, that is, has been announced. The official date has been announced. That was announced this morning. That is now going to be played on Thursday, February the 24th at the Emirates. Was originally going to be on Tuesday, December 28th, but obviously Wolves had that called off because of COVID and injuries, so they had that game postponed. It has now been reset. Arsenal don't have a game the following weekend, so nothing has to be moved. They were due to play Liverpool in the league, but that's been called off because Liverpool, it's this weekend of the Carabao Cup final and Liverpool are in that, obviously against Chelsea, so Arsenal won't be in action that weekend. It means they'll be playing Wolves away next Thursday, then Brentford, and then Wolves at home the following week. So important sort of week for Arsenal pretty much as soon as they return to action. 9 points up for grabs in the Premier League. Wolves right below Arsenal in the league. So it's going to be a really crucial, pretty much double header against those lot. If Arsenal can come out on top, get 4 points or 6 points from those two games, then they'll certainly open up a very big gap between themselves and Wolves, which will be important because Wolves have been very impressive this season under Bruno Lage, and surprisingly impressive actually. I thought Wolves were going to struggle this year, but they haven't, so that will be important couple of games coming up for Arsenal. Alright everyone, thank you very much for watching, appreciate your time as always. Please do leave your comments below, give the video a like if you've enjoyed what you've seen. I'll go through the comments, see what you guys have had to say. As always, have a very good day, enjoy yourselves. Only 1 week today until Arsenal return to action. Have a good one everyone.